McLaren is gearing up for an epic comeback in 2024. Last season, Andrea Stella and Zach Brown admitted that they had a slow start with the MCL 60, but McLaren didn't just bounce back. They roared back into the game thanks to Andrea Stella's brilliant moves. From struggling against Williams to taking on the big dogs like Mercedes and Ferrari, they're now ready to roll. Now, in 2024, the anticipation is sky high. McLaren has some secret upgrades, and everyone's wondering, can they snag a top 3 spot this time? Join us in today's video as we reveal everything about McLaren's latest upgrades for 2024. At the beginning of the 2023 Formula One season, McLaren wasn't looking great. They were struggling, and there were warning signs during the car launch when the tech director said the car didn't meet performance targets. Lando Norris, entering his 5th F1 season, and rookie Oscar Piastri were dealing with a slow and uncompetitive car, and things didn't get better and the tech director left after a few races. But then, magic happened in Austria. A significant upgrade turned things around for McLaren. Norris bagged podium finishes in the next 2 races, and the positive momentum carried through the rest of the season. They ended up with 9 podiums, including 2 for rookie Piastri. According to Norris, McLaren's transformation is the most significant he has seen in any team over the past decade. And a big part of this success is credited to Andrea Stella, who stepped up when the previous team principal left. Now, Stella, who has been with McLaren since 2015, revamped the technical structure. He brought in new heads for aerodynamics, performance, and engineering, creating a bit of a 3-headed leadership. Now, this might sound complex, but it's designed to let experts excel in their specific areas. The restructuring also included the addition of Peter Prodromou for aerodynamics, David Sanchez for performance and concepts, and Rob Marshall for engineering and design. This setup has given clarity on responsibilities and allowed the team to make significant strides. Looking ahead to 2024, McLaren is excited. They are working on a new car using a fancy new wind tunnel and other upgraded facilities in Woking. Even though they did well last year, they know they still have a lot of work to do if they want to compete with the best team, Red Bull. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Andrea Stella said the only thing keeping them from being as good as Red Bull is how they manage their tires. Red Bull is still a bit better at handling tire wear. As McLaren plans for 2024, Stella emphasizes that they need to improve more than just the aerodynamics of the car. He mentioned, "We have some goals, but I can't say exactly what they are. But I can tell you, it's not just about how the car handles the air." When asked if the tire issue is more about the shape of the car or the mechanics, Stella explained it's a bit of both. He also noted that rivals like Mercedes and Ferrari, who didn't do so well in 2023, are planning big changes for their cars in 2024. Stella believes McLaren is in a good position to do well next season because they started making improvements back in July. Even though they had to work with a car that wasn't exactly what they wanted at the beginning of the year, they made significant changes throughout the season. The team kept some parts from the original car, but had to redo a lot, especially the floor, bodywork, rear wing, and part of the front wing. Even race driver Max Verstappen is talking about McLaren. He is keeping a close eye on them because he thinks their progress in 2023 was the most impressive among Red Bull's rivals. McLaren did not have the best start last year. They were like that underdog team trying to find their groove, not scoring any points in the first 2 races, but then out of the blue, they pulled off some serious magic tricks. Now Verstappen, the triple world champ, is impressed with how much they improved. He is saying McLaren might come out swinging in 2024, and that is a huge compliment coming from the guy who dominated 19 out of 22 races last year. On a podcast by Red Bull, Verstappen spilled the beans. He said, "We were the only team that was really consistent in 2023. Basically, Red Bull was the cool, calm, and collected team. But behind them, it was like a roller coaster. One team doing well, then another, and so on. And in this wild ride, McLaren caught Verstappen's attention as the most impressive team going from zero to hero." Now, thinking about the upcoming season, Verstappen shared some more knowledge. He knows that having a killer car is key to winning championships. But it's not just about the car. He is relying on his years of racing experience to keep his performance on point. Verstappen understands that every year brings new challenges, and he's ready to tackle them head-on, aiming for that 4th world title. But Andrea Stella is playing it smart. He's not shouting from the rooftops about how amazing McLaren will be in the next F1 season. Instead, he is being cautious and realistic. In Formula One, we can measure progress pretty precisely, Stella explained. We use fancy tools like wind tunnels and computer simulations, and we can see that a certain rate of development translates to a specific improvement in lap times, like 0.2, half a second, 0.7, you name it. Stella knows the game, and he knows that to stay competitive, you need to have a good chunk of improvement in hand. Otherwise, what looks like standing still in F1 terms is actually losing ground because everyone else is catching up. So, we'll dive into the data first, he continued. We already have a pretty good idea about it, but I won't spill the beans. Once we have the facts, we'll set the team's expectations, both inside and outside. We're not into creating false hype because reality has a way of catching up with you, and we don't want to be caught off guard. Now, Stella emphasizes the importance of being honest and realistic. They don't want to oversell things only to face a harsh reality check later. But on the flip side, they don't want to downplay their potential and end up unprepared for a fierce fight at the front of the pack. He hints at a bit of a dip in performance towards the end of the 2023 season, especially after the final significant upgrade in Singapore. Stella chalks this up to McLaren reaching the end of their major developments, while other teams kept making smaller improvements. He breaks it down saying, "We started the season a bit off the pace, then made strides in Austria, another boost in Singapore. However, towards the end, we've been pretty steady in terms of development. Meanwhile, other teams brought in upgrades, some quite successful ones. So it's not that we got worse, it's just that others closed the gap or even passed us." Now, Stella is clear to keep enjoying the good results they have had recently, McLaren needs to step up their game even more for the next season. It is a mix of staying realistic, analyzing the data, and making smart decisions to keep the McLaren train rolling forward. With a promising duo of drivers in Norris and Piastri, and McLaren's continuous improvements, the 2024 season looks intriguing. The team has confidence in its young drivers, especially after extending Piastri's contract until 2026. The combination of strong performances and a reliable car might just be the formula for McLaren's success in the upcoming seasons. As the team invests in the future, both with drivers and personnel changes, only time will tell if these moves will lead to sustained success. But one thing is clear, if McLaren can keep up the momentum, they will be a force to be reckoned with at the front of the grid for seasons to come. Exciting times are ahead for McLaren fans. Now, we would love to hear from you. Do you think McLaren's performance will improve in the upcoming 2024 Formula One season? Share your thoughts down in the comments. Also, do not forget to hit like and subscribe for more awesome F1 stuff.